Hi guys, welcome back to the Comic Book Corner, and this is your host Spider Slayer, getting ready to do another review from the Walking Dead TV show. That's right, we are on episode 10 now, 18 miles, and I think this was the best episode of the season so far. I mean, overall season. I think what I liked most about this episode was Shane and Rick being pretty much exclusive to the episode and them just battling it out and getting everything out. I think it was phenomenal. It was an excellent job. Um, the whole little side story with Beth coming out of her catatonic shock and wanting to commit suicide, and Andrea stepping in and the whole thing was kind of just something to break away from that action here and now. Honestly, I could have done without that whole thing. It's just quite interesting to see where all the other characters were during this, incident when Beth was coming out of, her shock, and I could have missed it. I don't know, but no one was around. Herschel wasn't around. Dale wasn't around, Daryl wasn't around, Carol wasn't around. So no one was around, but it was awesome to see Rick and Shane let it all out. I mean, all their frustrations built up with Rick towards Shane, with him, cheating on Lori and everything else. And then just how Shane is just fed up with Rick not being able to make the big decisions, I think was a huge, factor in the whole battle. They started it off in the beginning of the show, them just talking, seeing if they could talk it out. But obviously not. It wasn't enough for Shane, because obviously when they're driving to the prison institute or whatever it was that they went to, Shane is just basically looking off into the old, looking off at the window out of the car, just ignoring everything Rick has to say. And the whole thing was, of this, the whole thing, why this all started, to begin with, was obviously a buildup of situations that occurred, but this was the final one. If Rick had just left this kid out there to die, they would have never gone to this prison. They would have never had this whole incident with all these zombies and everything else. And that's what Shane is tired of from Rick. Is just making always the wrong decisions. And what can I say? I kind of agree. I think that they should have left the kid there, and none of this would have ever happened. The one thing that comes to me in this episode is that we saw a correction institute. Now, fans of the comic book know that later on in this series is that they take shelter in a corrections institute. Could the same building be used for the group later on down the road, because it is 18 miles down, further out, and they could use that as shelter in the future. So just keep that in mind, guys. They could remember this place, even though it has zombies in it. Who knows? They could use that as a shelter. But basically, um, the group is just, Rick and Shane again are just have a fight over this kid and what to do with him, and Rick wants to basically leave the kid there and think about it, because they obviously felt something for this child, or Rick did, because um, he knew Maggie and things like that, and Rick wanted to take a minute, and then you know, Shane didn't want to go with that. Shane basically wants to kill the kid, and that's when the whole brawl started off with with Rick and Shane. Whole thing, just all out fight. It was the best. It was one of the best parts. They're sitting going bop bop bop, just fighting and beating up each other. Like, wah, wah, wah. They're all grunting and raving on and beating the shit out of each other. And the next thing you know is you see freaking Shane throw a huge ass wrench at Rick, and he dodges it out of the way, and it breaks the glass, and that's where you see the beginning of the whole zombie situation come. They just start coming, pouring out of the window, just pouring out. And, Rick tries to kill one with a knife, and he uses it as cover as they're just pouring out, and they're just being chased. And one of the great things is that Shane goes to a bus, and he's being trapped in a bus. And one of the best part of the episode is where Shane takes his freaking gun after he kills a couple zombies, and they're on top of him, and he takes a gun and he puts it in the zombie's mouth, and boom, 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 and it goes through his back of zombie's head, and there's zombie guts going through to finally kill the third zombie that's on top of him. And then he pushes him aside and gets him out of the way. I thought that was basically the best part. And as I said before, we're cutting back and forth between, Andrea and Maggie and Lori, and basically, Andrea and Lori have an argument about the whole, who has lost more during this situation, and Andrea tries to put it in perspective for Lori about how she has everything. How she has Rick, she's got her son came back to life, her husband lived, she has a baby on the way. And that was true. That made a really good point. Andrea made a good point there. Lori has everything to live for. She's got her family and everything else. What does Andrea have? What does the rest of the group have? They have nothing to live for. So Andrea made a good point that, what, it's in, it's in, your decision. It's in Beth's decision on what she wants to do. Maybe I may have agreed with that situation, but she made a good point to Lori that, the rest of us are willing to live, based off of what, so I don't know. But, basically towards the end of the show, we see Beth going to commit suicide. She goes in the bathroom after Andrea leaves her alone to make a decision. She slits her wrist, but she decides not to do it all the way, and she decides that she wants to live. And then basically after that, Andrea is exiled from the house because, she kind of left Beth alone. So that whole part of the story, I was kind of like, well, whatever, because everything going on with Rick and Shane was the main part. And I just thought overall it was a great issue. Rick and Shane battling out. I loved how at first Rick was going to leave them, but I found it actually even more better when Rick sat there and looked at the two dead police officers, and he pictured them as him and Shane. And that's what made him go back and save Shane's life. And he was basically driving on the Hyundai, pop, 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 pop. And, Shane jumps out the emergency door, and they take off. And now they're still stuck in this situation, what they're going to do with this kid. They said that they're going to kill him. Who knows? We'll see. But overall, this episode was really, really good. I'm sorry this review is a little bit later than I like to, but I'm running short on time, and so I apologize for that. And my notes weren't as good either because for some stupid ass reason my DVR didn't record the episode last night, and I had to watch this show online, so I couldn't take the best notes as I possibly could. But again, all I want to say is that this was an awesome episode. So go back and rewatch it. I know I will when it comes on a repeat. This was great, guys. Tell me what you guys saw of this episode. Was this your best episode that you've seen so far this season? A lot of people were asking for zombies. Well, this was it. This was the episode that had all the zombies in it. Awesome episode. So, with that being said, I am going on vacation starting on Saturday. So a lot of you who do watch my channel, I probably will not be doing videos probably for about 7 to 9 days, and that includes this Walking Dead. If I do it, it might be later on after the Sunday, maybe like a Tuesday or Wednesday or whatnot. I don't know. I'm not too sure yet, but I might be skipping an actual episode of this one and some of my comic book reviews. So I just wanted to give you guys heads up. I'm going to Disney World with my family for the weekend, or for the week, and so I will be gone. But I will still be doing some reviews until then. And you guys leave me a message, leave me comments down below on what you thought of this episode. Was this the episode you've been waiting for all season? Let me know, guys. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, great night, great week. I will see you guys soon. And until the next comic review, this is Spider Slayer signing off. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.